And for clarification, when you say you were away for a while or a little bit, I forgot how you worded it, but what did you mean by that?
I actually did a little time. I did a year in jail. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my first time in jail, but it's definitely the longest time I've ever spent in jail consecutively. Yeah, so that's what I meant when I said away. And actually, when I saw him in Gucci, it's funny because at that time actually I spoke to Thug, but then I was also that was actually my first time actually having a conversation with Gucci at the time. But long story short, in my mind, I was in another place because I knew where I was about to go because of my charges and everything. I was really stressed, smoking a lot at the time, and not saying music wasn't on my mind, but I was just like, I was stressed, man. I was going through a rough time in my life, a rough period in my life.
Do you want to speak on that time in jail?
Sure. First of all, it's not the place you want to go. If I had to describe it, I would definitely say it's hell on earth. That's exactly what it is. If there was a place on earth that was called hell, that's definitely hell. Your freedom, of course, is taken from you. You have no choice in what you wear, where you go. It's just like it's really just a different type of living that people don't. I mean, they don't really understand unless they've been through it. That's definitely what I would say. It was, in my opinion, excuse me, in my opinion, it was kind of like it's similar to the streets because of course, it's a lot of street cats that go to jail, so it wasn't just too foreign for me, but it was like I guess the conditions that you're in with these people from the streets. It's like they're away from their families, their girlfriends, and all that, so they're mentally stressed. And one thing about jail, and of course, some people can smuggle something to smoke or ease their mind, but for the most part, it's hard to come across that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's really you're dealing with people. Everyone has their own situation, different moves, different egos, personalities, frustration from just being in a place they don't want to be. It can be very very depressing, very depressing. So if you could just find any moment, even in that moment or in that situation or environment, just to smile, you win it, at least for them 5 minutes you smiling for.
And the time you spent in jail, was that fighting a case or was that the sentence to a case?
Good question. The reason why this is exactly what it is. I actually was out on bond. That's exactly what it is. I was out on bond, and I was in Houston at the time. I was really living wild, definitely very wild back then. I was in Houston at the time, and I guess they sent the court date to my mom's crib. So they sent the letter to my mom's crib. I didn't get it, but my mom with my mail, she just puts it in a style like, in a pile, and like whenever you get it, you got a pile of mail here, come get it. Sometimes like if I ain't expecting no money, no serious, I just like let it sit on my other bills or whatever, and I let it sit at the time. So one of the papers was a court date. I think my mom, no, my I had a public defender. I'm not gonna lie. My public defender called me and was like, okay, you got court Monday. So I'm like, court? So I'm like, no, I told you nothing about that. So I called my mom. She went through my mail. Yes, they sent something in the mail. I didn't make my court date. I was in Houston. I should have went. It's actually I did my time in Georgia. I was supposed to come to Georgia. Some told me to go back to because I feel like if I missed that mail, what else did I miss? So I went. Someone told me to drive back to Nashville. I was driving back to Nashville, and okay, that's exactly what happened. Driving back to Nashville, got pulled over. The cop gave me fucking hell, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I was already stressed, so I didn't make it no better with my, with what I was saying. Long story short, I wasn't driving no insurance. He could have let me go. He could have let me go, but he ended up impounding the car, taking me in, all type of bullshit. I was in jail for the weekend, missed court date, and now I got a warrant for my arrest for failure to appear. So I kind of, I skated for a little minute, about a month. I didn't turn myself in because I'm like, man, I ain't, whenever I go, I'm going to go. And I ended up going back to Georgia, and that's what happened. I just turned myself in, and I was actually still fighting my case. That's why I did a year, because of course they had a plea deal on the table, but they plea deal wasn't talking about none of what I was trying to do. So I'm like, I sit, y'all gonna feed me. I'm gonna chill for a minute. I ain't going for what y'all trying to kick me right now. So that's how that played out. So I actually did a year, not because that's what they sentenced me, but I did a year because I didn't agree to the plea deal. I didn't agree to it, not at all.
And what ends up happening?
This is exactly what happened. This would change my whole perspective. I have 2 daughters, man. And near the end of my sentence, I honestly went almost a year without seeing them. I talked to them on the phone, but I did not see them physically. So I actually got to see them near the end of my sentence, or when it was time for my court date. And I was like, you know what? I'm being stubborn. You know, I'm letting my ego get to me. I'm trying to fight with these people, and my daughters are missing time away from their dad. So that's really what got to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to, you know, I'm gonna go to court and I'm gonna play by their rules. That's exactly how I played it, and that's how everything worked out. So after I went to court and did all that, the funny thing about it is, they gave me, my sentence was, it was a 5-year sentence to do 1 year in jail, 4 years on probation. That was the deal. And to me, that was like bullshit. First of all, who wants to do a year in jail? Then 4 years probation, like I'm a heavy smoker at the time. Like, you telling me anytime I piss, y'all finna come get me, or smoke, y'all finna come get me? I was like, nah, I ain't going for it. But at the end of the day, I was like, for my kids, I could be a man and suck it up. So that's what happened. And they gave me time served for the year I did. So as soon as I signed the plea deal, literally, I probably signed it around 11:30 that afternoon. If y'all know how it goes, they don't just let you out right then. I didn't get out to probably like 9:30 that night after everything, you know, after the process and everything. I got out like 9:30 that night, and you know, I was on 4 years probation after that. And that ain't fun either, but I did it.
And you completed it.
I completed it, no violations. I mean, yeah, they tripped on me sometimes, but I never failed a drug test. You know, I did everything they asked me to do. I did the classes, everything the judge asked me, I did everything. They couldn't say too much about me, but I'm not gonna say it was easy. I'm not gonna say it was fun. I knew many people that was on probation or on papers, and you know, they wasn't as lucky or fortunate.
And what do you mean when you say they tripped on you sometimes? Are you able to elaborate?
Yeah, like sometimes they do random drug screens. Like sometimes people think like, oh, every first of the month you just go and piss in a cup. It don't really work like that. Anytime they call you, like literally, well, every office is different, every state is different, but literally when they say come today, that's what they mean, like leave your job or you have 24 hours to show up, like they be for real. And it's like sometimes they'll hit you with a random, and then literally like a week or two hit you again, like dude, I just came 2 weeks ago, and sometimes like, oh, we don't have record of it, just bullshit, man. And you know, everybody like to, you know, sneak and geek up, have a little fun, but it's like sometimes it'll make you paranoid because you don't know what to expect. Mm-hmm.
And what county jail were you incarcerated at?
Yeah, I was actually in Newton County. Like, it's funny because I didn't even live there, but I was in Newton County. Yeah, it's Covington area. It's about, I'd say about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes outside of Atlanta.
Was gonna ask, what was that like? You shed some light on it already, but did you want to shed any more light on what that experience like of that county jail was?
Oh, okay. We're going into detail. First of all, if I was in Atlanta or, you know, Palm Beach, Florida, or Nashville, I would have had a much smoother time. I'm not gonna lie to you, just because, you know, I spent good time there. I know people there, so, you know, with Newton County, they didn't know me, you know. So I went through, you know, sometimes even with inmates, I had a couple of run-ins with a couple of inmates. Some of the officers there, I definitely had, you know, some run-ins with them. But I say by the end of my sentence, you know, it was all respect, it was all love, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're like, okay, we didn't know who the fuck you was when you came, but, you know, it's all respect and love now.
When you say run-ins, you mean physical altercations?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first week, I got into it with a dude. And when sometimes some people I've done, sometimes they get into it with the first day, but sometimes people gonna try you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I stayed to myself for the most part. So, you know, some people like, you know, they just want to see what you about, what you got going on, you know, and that's really what happened. So, I ended up getting into a dude, and, you know, that's pretty much how that played out. And no, I'm not the biggest, toughest guy, whatever you want to call it. But as far as my jail experience, I for the record, and I pray it stays the same, I've never lost a fight. I've never lost a fight. And I'm not trying to boast about it. I've never lost a fight. I ain't gonna lie, I've been jumped before, but I've never lost a fight. Never lost a one-on-one fight. But I don't pick fights either. But, you know, anybody that picked a fight, I handle my own.
You were jumped in that county jail?
No, that was actually in Clayton County. I got jumped in Clayco.
And what age were you when you went into Newton County?
Age, 23, I believe, 23. But, yeah, 23.
And care to share what charge you ended up getting convicted for?
For Newton County?
Yeah.
They hit me with some crazy charges. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But the final charge that you end up
final charge, I got
pleading
5 final charges.
Okay.
I got 5 of them, and that's why I said it was some crazy charges, because It should have been just one, but it was 5. I'll listen for you. I got, okay, exactly what I got. I got, what is they call it? False imprisonment, which is like kidnapping, false imprisonment. I got hindering a 911 call. I got child cruelty, 1st and 2nd degree, because you're not supposed to do any type of crime around children, period. And then I got, I think it was assault or battery or something like that, or family violence, something like that. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, and I'll be completely honest with y'all, domestic violence is very serious. You know, I'm not trying to say I'm better than the next person, whatever, but at the end of the day, no, those charges didn't apply to my situation because, you know, people know, you know, stories get changed and, you know, out of spite people lie, but what I will say, there is no excuse, hold up, there's no excuse to ever put your hands on a woman. And I stand by that. There's no valid reason. Even if your emotions feel a certain type of way, I mean, there's no valid reason. You know, like at the end of the day, you know, if you're not putting your hands on a woman in a loving or caring way, your hands shouldn't be on a woman. And that's definitely how I feel about it. Yes, everyone makes mistakes. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's definitely a serious matter. You know, I hate that I had to learn that through that experience, but you know, that's life. You bump your head sometimes, and you keep it rolling.
Were any of these charges considered felonies?
Yeah, I think 2 of them was false imprisonment, or 3 of them, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, a few of them was considered felonies. Yeah.
So by agreeing to that plea deal, you end up becoming a convicted felon.
Convicted felon, absolutely. And yeah, I was a felon. With the experience of being a felon, man, it's tough. You think it's tough before. Like, it's tough just being in America and trying to survive, but trying to be a felon in America, you get no love, man. I don't care what they say. It's like your options are very limited. You know, it's back to the streets or, you know, a low-paying job, maybe, you know, temporary job agency, they might fuck with you. But it's tough, man. I'm not going to lie. It's very tough, man. And it actually closes a lot of doors. You know, closes a lot of doors. And, you know, I kind of, you know, my heart goes out to people who are in those situations because it's like a stamp that goes on you that just says you're a bad guy. And it's like you don't deserve to, you know, be able to get your own apartment, or you don't deserve to be able to have a good paying job to take care of your kids. It's a fucked up system, man. But, you know, it is what it is.
This was the first time you were convicted of a felony in your life?
Convicted, yeah, I would say so. I got a gun charge when I was 15, but it didn't stick to my record because I was a minor. Yeah, it went away when I was 18.
And this is the only felony conviction so far?
Absolutely.
Everyone's situation is different, but for yours, when you reflect back, should you have fought it in trial?
Oh, man.
You did mention about your own children and why you chose the plea deal, but just if you could turn back the hands of time, just rewinding how everything ended up.
I would definitely take it to trial, absolutely, because the evidence was no real evidence. And not only that, it was like what I was being charged for, there were lies. Like, I mean, some of them were lies, not all of them. So I'd really have to go to court and kind of say, okay, I plead guilty to that, but all that, y'all can keep that. You know, they would be more like that situation. But I definitely would have fought it because I know. But this is the key thing. This would change my situation. If I was still out on bond, I definitely would have fought it because, like, I'm a free man. I could still go to court, whatever. But I didn't respect. You know, I tried to respect the system, but I missed court, so I violated my bond. So, you know, trying to go to trial while you're locked up it's tough because, like, you could be there 3, 5, you can be there a long time just trying to fight a charge because you go to court, you think this is the day that, you know, everything's gonna get situated, and they postpone it for 6 months down the line. It's like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, if I was, you know, out on bond, I definitely would have tried. I definitely would have took it to trial. Definitely.
If you would have lost trial, though, what would you have been facing?
Oh, I think the judge told me on my first court date, he told me straight up, he told me 12 years. That's what he told me. And I don't even think that was the max I could have got. Like, that was just what the judge told me. Like, you know, this is, you know, it's punishable to this, or this what this is what you looking at. And I looked at 12 for that. What the hell is going on? You know.
Would you have taken it to trial though with that public defender
Ooh.
you had?
I ain't gonna lie, my public defender was dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. She was definitely dope, but she was very busy too. She had a big workload. So I'm not saying I don't know if my case would have got that type of attention it needed, but it definitely was an option. It definitely was an option. You know, that was an option.
You've already explained what the final charges were, but
Mm-hmm.
what were the original charges? Were there more charges than that?
No, that was the same ones at the end, were the same ones at the beginning. Yeah, that was the same one. They didn't, sometimes in some court cases they be like, okay, they drop it down to a lesser charge, or sometimes they make it a bigger charge. But for mine, it was just the same. They wasn't really budging on that.
Sometimes they dismiss charges as
Sometimes
well.
they dismiss it, Sometimes they do.
How many times was the plea deal negotiated for?
I believe it was twice. And when I first went to court, my option was, and it's funny, I should have probably took it considering what I did. My option was 5 years probation. So considering somebody who never done, no real time, I was like, 5 years probation. You tell me I can't kick it how I kick it for 5 years? I was like, nah, hell no. But it's funny, I ended up doing it anyways. And I did it. I ended up having to do a year in jail. So it's like, you gotta pick your poison out here and see what works best for you.
Could it have been negotiated down any more than twice?
I think so. But I wasn't really trying to negotiate. I was really just saying innocent, and I was rolling like that.
Has the charge been expunged?
Not necessarily expunged.
Or the charge is?
Charge is, yeah. I'm not gonna say expunged, but for in Georgia they do it. I had the first time offender act, so with that working for me, at first I'm not gonna say it got denied. It got missed in court, like. Just like anybody at any other job, people mess up. Like, say when you go to let's say Burger King and they forget to put cheese on the burger. Everybody makes mistakes. We're human. So in court, what happened with mine? They forgot to check a box that said first time offender. The judge agreed to it. The DA agreed to it. My public defender agreed to it. Everybody was on the same page. But when it got down to the sentencing and the paperwork, somebody forgot to check the first time offender box. So for me, I went the whole 4 years on my probation as a felon. And and it's hard going back to court because this time you can't get a public defender. You got to hire your own attorney. So that's what I had to do. Hire my own attorney, and I had to go to court again after I served my whole sentence because they couldn't change the sentence that I was currently serving. It's crazy. It gets deep, man. It gets real deep.
Do you remember the public defender name you had?
Of course. She was like my jail wife for a year. But no, her name was Jennifer Arndt, man.
And you end up having a paid attorney at some point. What'd you think of their work?
Oh, he was great too. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's definitely respected, definitely out in Newton County, but he did his thing. He did his. I have no complaints. He did his thing.
Care to share who you used?
Yeah, I used John Strauss. John Strauss, that's my guy.
And care to share how much that cost you back then?
More than I had. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna put a number on it because I don't want to put his price out. But he's a fair guy. He'll work with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely reach out to him, and if you have any troubles, he'll definitely look out.
And anything else you want to mention about jail, about
jail.
felony convictions, about this case, or question you weren't asked? People want to know about it.
Okay.
Final
things. Like I said, I spent a year there. I probably could talk about it all day, but just key points I would say is
Yeah. Anything else you want to leave the viewers with on this topic? Anything that wasn't said?
Man,
anything
at
that needs
the
to
end
be
of the day,
clarified?
man, like they say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, man. Like, I wasn't in a situation where I had to stench on anybody, do nothing like that. But man, it's real, man. It's not the place anybody wants to be, man. It's really not. Like, It's really not. It's really not. Like, now, if you just don't want to work and you want somebody to feed you 3 times a day and you just chill, go ahead. That's a place for you. But for me, I like to have fun, man. You know what I'm saying? I like making music. I like doing what I do. And I can't do that in there. So, I try to stay clear of the law and I try to stay focused and do my own thing.
Anything else?
Another thing is, when you're in there, like I say, you're the state's property or the federal property, whoever's property. You don't own yourself. And I had to learn that. At the end of the day, no, they cannot take what's in your mind. They cannot take, your heart, your spirit. They can't take that from you. But as far as your physical body, man, it's real, man. Like, I remember my first real, I know it was like my second run-in with one of the, with the police officers, man, one of the guards, man. Long story short, I ended up getting hit with a damn taser stun gun thing. Oh, my gosh. That motherfucker. As a memory, man. Like, literally, it's not like, okay, you rub your feet on the carpet, you touch somebody, it's like, oh, I shot. Literally, it's like, it feels like, and it may sound weird, but it feels like hot water going through your bones and veins. It's like, that shit fucking, like, literally my body was like bouncing on the ground like a damn fish, man. And it's like, what I learned after that day, I was like, I look back, and it's like I couldn't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Because after that, I'm shaking on the ground, and they just shut the damn door. I'm like, this ain't what it is. This is that bullshit. And honestly, I didn't deserve to get hit with the damn stun gun. It was just because, and at that particular time, or while I was doing my time, because they transferred me around a whole lot. But at that particular time, they had me kind of like a 23-1 type thing where, you do 23 hours in a cell and you do an hour out. But long story short, it was like 15 minutes. And this day, I just wasn't going. Like, everybody got bad days. So this one day, I got out my cell for my little break, for my little, little free time, and it was literally probably like 6-7 minutes. And they told me, all right, go back in the cell. And I'm like, I bucked the system, and I ended up getting hit with the taser. I was like, 6 minutes, y'all tripping, man. Supposed to woo. And man, I learned my lesson. Man.
That was the first and only time you've ever been hit by a taser?
Yeah. I think it was a stun. I think they call it a stun gun because the thing hit me in the goddamn arm, and it was like two little prong things hit me in the damn arm, and it don't shock. I don't know if maybe because he didn't press it, but I don't know. But it didn't shock me right away. It just hit me. What the hell is this? I should have just brushed it off, but I didn't. I learned my lesson. Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Did the 2 prongs have any pain, or it was just the
shot?
shot?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, yeah, that hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a
staple?
No. It's like it looks like a bullet. It's round like a bullet, and then it has a very pointy end on it. That's exactly what it is. So it hits you and then it stops. Like, so it actually punches your skin. You'll bleed after it. Of course, you're not just profusely, but you'll bleed. So there's 2 of them, they go boom, and they hit you, and they stick there. They stay there because it's very straight. It's metal. It hits you. So after it hit me, I'm like, damn, it hurt. But, I'm a soldier. I ain't that wasn't fazed by that. But after that bitch shocked me, I ain't never felt nothing like that.
What would you put the pain level, 1 through 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, on just the prongs?
Oh, just the prongs. I would say, for me, because, I have kind of a high tolerance for pain, I would say like a 4. It was uncomfortable, but it wasn't nothing like, a tear wasn't going, I won't tear up or nothing.
What about the shock?
Oh, the shock.
What would you put that pain level?
Okay, that's up there. The shock, I would have to say pain of 1 to 10, scale 1 to 10. I would say it's like a 8, close to 8.5. It's up there. It's definitely up there, man. And I'm a tough one, so if I say it's up there, you don't really want to feel that. But it was definitely up there. It's like you can't think while it's going on. It's just like your body just literally getting shocked, electrocuted.
You already said what the shock felt like.
Mm-hmm.
What about the prongs? Is it like the sting of a needle, like getting a shot, or no?
Yeah, similar. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it's like. It's like getting hit with a shot at the doctor. But the only difference is because it comes so fast, it comes out the gun so fast. It's almost like getting punched in the arm by a big brother. So you get punched in the arm by a big brother, and then you get hit with a shot. And after that, it's like getting punched in the arm. It's like, okay, yeah, I felt the pressure. And then the needle's like, okay, I can do a shot. But it's just that shock. I mean, do a shot, but the shock that comes after is what really changes the game.
So it was a taser gun, a police taser gun.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and the funny thing I learned about that, all police officers can't hold a taser gun. Like they can't. If from what I heard, the way their system works out, if they haven't been shocked by a taser gun, they're not allowed to carry one. So they know exactly how it feels. But sometimes if you're ever in jail, sometimes they just don't wear it. But if you see someone with it, they've experienced it because you're not allowed to, I guess, administer something that you're not willing to take yourself. Kind of, I think it's the same thing with pepper spray.
I just Googled death from police taser. CNN.com has an article titled, "A man in Indianapolis died after police say an officer deployed a taser."
Wow.
During ... And the article title goes longer. Here's another one from theguardian.com. The title of this one says, "Inquiry after 93-year-old man with one leg dies after being tasered by police." USAtoday.com has an article titled, "Police use of tasers ends in hundreds of deaths like Dante Wright."
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. And it's funny because I understand everybody has their own health condition.
The NewYorkTimes.com has another article titled, "Man dies after he is shot by the police with a stun gun and catches fire."
Wow.
Another New York Times article titled, "Two ex-officers who used tasers on a man over 50 times are convicted of murder." NewYorkDailyNews.com has a title article, "3 Florida cops charged with manslaughter for taser death."
So now I feel lucky. I never even did research on it.
And there's plenty of more articles.
Wow. That just shows type of weapons that they use on us, man. It could kill you. I guess I'm a survivor, man.
Okay, I want to just rewind on a couple of other things that you mentioned. Why the different transfers?
You talking about while I was in jail?
Yeah.
Funny thing, sometimes I didn't even fucking know why. To tell you the truth, like they just say, "Pack yourself, come on." That's really how it goes. Like sometimes I was in I guess they call it the general population where you get more free time and you get to chill or whatever. And then sometimes they had me in the 23 and 1, and even one time they had me on what they call that shit. It's kind of like the okay, these are my own words. I don't know what it's called, but it's like the mental cells or whatever type shit. Like if they think you're going crazy, it wasn't like suicide watching those shit, but something similar to that. And like you're in your own cell, and it's like they just watch your ass all day. But yeah, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I think people just I don't know how it works, but I think they just wake up and say, "Oh, Kirk, let's just move him over here today." Or it's like you don't have no control, man. Like they just do whatever the hell they want to do.
It wasn't because of any of the altercations.
Okay. The first one because I was in general population. It could have been because of that. I got into it with the inmate, and then I kind of booked on the police officer. I'll take the blame for the first one. I was causing a little hell in the population because then I started fucking with my cellmate. I was just going through a lot mentally, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it was them not saying starting, but them kind of provoking the situation, and then other situations was kind of just me I'm just having a bad day, just stressed about my situation. So I think after they just watch how everything transpired, they're like, okay, maybe he'll do better over here, or whatever. I think that's how it played out.
And when you say it can be depressing to be in county jail, as you described, when it comes to the phrase depressing, is that just a feeling, or have you ever been diagnosed by a professional with depression?
No, I haven't been diagnosed by a professional diagnosed by a professional with depression, but with in there it's very, when I say depressed, it can be very depressing. It's not just oh, I'm sad today. No, I mean sad. Like when you think about, you ain't talk to your girlfriend in a week, or she ain't writing you back, or she ain't picking up your phone calls, and you wondering what your girlfriend doing, or you miss your if you got kids or your family, whatever you care for, anything that you're missing out, it's like you're taking away from what your reality or what you enjoy most, and it's it really hurts because it's sometimes you feel like you're forgotten, or people, they ain't thinking about you, or life is going on without you, and sometimes that's what happens, but it's very depressing, and sometimes it could be cellmates. Like I remember a couple of my cellmates sometimes would, they sing love songs, or they sing very depressing songs just to get them through. And sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, I had one cellmate, he was singing some Kirk Franklin, and it was like once. Sometimes you don't even know the days. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say it was a Sunday morning, but it felt like a Sunday morning when he was singing it. And he was singing. I remember he was singing one of the songs, "Melodies from Heaven." He was singing that, and it was very uplifting. But it was like it's sometimes sad because like when you're not in jail, it's like some people may not be thinking about going to church or whatever. But and they're just like, man, I just wish I could go to church. But it's very sad in there, man.
Speaking of church, do you follow religion by any chance?
I would like to say I am more spiritual than religious, but I was raised as Seventh-day Adventist. That's the religion. They actually believe in the Sabbath and go to church on Saturday. But that's how I was raised through, in the Seventh-day Adventist home. But yeah, I'm more spiritual. Definitely where I'm at in life now. I do believe in a bigger, a creator, a higher being. But as far as with me, I'm just like, I don't believe religion can save you. I mean, only the creator can.
And who raised you Seventh-day Adventist? Was that your mother, father, or both?
Actually, both. Seventh-day Adventist is very popular in the Jamaican culture. It's a very popular religion. I mean, it's not saying it's not popular everywhere else, but it's very popular in the Jamaican religion. I mean, Jamaican culture. And both of them are, Seventh-day Adventists. So when I'm with my mom, she would take me to church, and when I was with my dad, he would take me to church.
When did you consider yourself more spiritual?
Was
it a certain age?
I would say probably just before I went away and went to jail. I definitely say around that time. The reason why is because it's like, excuse me. I say because it's like I kind of became my own man. I started to find my own way. Some people are whatever religion they are because that's how their mom was raised and that's how their grandparents raised them, and they don't really think for themselves. And I think spirituality is something that you should find for yourself. Like find what you believe in. Not just what the person who gave birth to you believes in. That's what I believe.
And because you have this mentality, has that caused a rift between you and either of your parents by any chance?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, they respect my choice. They definitely do. I can't say that they've judged me or banned me from the family or anything like that. No, not at all. They respect it. When I ain't gonna lie, when I was in my late 20s, I kind of felt like a failing saint or a failing Seventh-day Adventist because of course I wasn't going to church like that. I was, some people say, oh, I'm out there sinning or whatever. So I kind of felt like I was losing in that on that path. But then after I found myself, I was like, only God could judge me. So I kind of just kept that and kept it going.
And the perspective of that question is sometimes differences in thoughts on religion can lead to rifts between family members.
Oh, it's very popular. Oh, I know that. Like, some people take religion so seriously, they'll choose religion over their family. I've seen that happen many times.
Anything else you want to mention about spirituality or religion or a question you weren't asked? People want to know about any of this stuff.
I'm good. Let's see. Anything I want to say about religion and spirituality? Like I said, I have my own thoughts on it. We could definitely get real deep in it, but as a whole, that sums me up. I'm spiritual. One thing I would say is when I was, people, they read the Bible. Every week they go to church, but for me, when I was locked up, I literally read the Bible from front to back. No lie, from front to back. So it's like, it was funny. There's a lot of text in there that I don't think some people know because it's like they're not really preached at sermons that popular, but the Bible is very interesting, man. Sometimes some chapters, some books are harder to understand than others, but yeah, that's an accomplishment for me because it's like I was Seventh-day Adventist my whole life and never read the whole Bible. But you read history books at school and you read science books at school, but you never read the whole Bible.
Was that the Old Testament, the New Testament?
I read both, Old and New.
Front to back.
Front to back.
That was during the year-long
my year-long sentence, yeah.
In Newton County?
Yeah, I read the whole. I actually bought it from the store there. I bought it and I read the whole thing.
How long did that take?
Let's see.
If you added up all the time you
all the
spent
time,
reading it.
all the time. Let me see. Because I ain't gonna lie. In there, yeah, you may have a clock, but nobody really has calendars. So it's like you really lose the track of time. Like you lose the track of time. But for me, if I had to just say how long it really took me, I'd say honestly by like maybe 2.5 months. You know, I wasn't just like reading it all day long because I mean, I'm not saying it's not fun, but that's just not what I was doing.
Now, it's one thing to read something, it's another to comprehend
That's totally different.
what you're reading. Did you comprehend what you were reading, or you were just reading?
I would say I comprehended as much as I could on the mental level I'm on. You know what I'm saying? Some, of course, with the Old Testament and sometimes even with the New Testament, the way certain things are worded, you know, and what's really meant when it's said, you know, and the book of the Bible is just like any other book. I may read it and get this from it. This person may read it and get that from it. So it's like, you know, would I say I grasp it? Absolutely, but you know, it's definitely could be talked about or debated. You know, I'm not saying I just have the full answer, but I did read it for myself.